Ever had one of those days where you felt so miserable that even your own shadow seemed to mock you? Well, you're not alone. Today's story is about a woman who really experienced that. Trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end because there's a spectacular plot twist that you won't see coming. It was India, 1800s. In a small village lived a young woman named Amara. She was one of the few dancers in the village who performed at the local temple for hours every day. Her movements were graceful and elegant. People would gather from far and wide just to catch a glimpse of her. As the best dancer in the town, she earned a lot of money. She had a husband and 2 children. She lived in a small but nice house and was respected by everyone in the community. She was happy, but then one night everything changed. She lost her entire family in a terrible fire. The next morning, she went out of her house. Her eyes were hollow, her shoulders slumped, and she walked like a ghost. From that day on, no one saw the lively and happy smile on her face. Instead, people saw a grim look of misery on her pale face. They also noticed her vacant eyes. Some said she was cursed. That's why she looked so lifeless. No amount of rituals or prayers could help her. And seeing her like this, people stopped coming to the temple to watch her dance. She lost her only source of income and was now penniless. She had nothing to do other than sit all day in her home thinking about her past and imagining a future that would never be. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into years. But one night, she decided to end her misery once and for all. She took out her most beautiful costume, set it on fire and danced around it. She wanted to burn all her old costumes and get rid of the pain forever. As the flames grew, a little girl peeked through the window. The girl was all alone in the world. Her parents died when she was very young, and she has been living in an orphanage ever since. She had seen Amara dancing at the temple many times, and she loved it. But after her family died, she stopped going to the temple. She heard some commotion and came running to see what was happening. Now, she was watching Amara dance in front of the fire. She didn't understand why Amara was doing this, but something compelled her to go inside. She quietly opened the door and stepped inside. Amara was too focused on burning her clothes that she didn't notice the girl. When the last piece of clothing was burned, she slumped to the ground. She closed her eyes and cried. That's when the girl stepped forward and asked, "Why are you sad?" Amara opened her eyes and saw a young girl standing in front of her. Startled, she asked, "Who are you? How did you get in here?" The girl replied, "My name is Lotta. I live in an orphanage near here. I saw you dancing and I wanted to ask, can you teach me how to dance like that?" Before Amara could reply, Lotta started imitating her movements. At first, she tried to stop Lotta, but then she realized there was no point. The clothes were already burnt, and there was no hope of making any money out of dancing anymore. So she sat Lotta down and started teaching her the basics. Amara spent the whole night teaching Lotta different hand gestures, leg movements and body language. After learning each step, Lotta would repeat it again and again until Amara was satisfied. Once Amara was sure that Lotta had learned the steps well, she told her to go out and practice in front of the temple. Amara herself was scared to go out because she was afraid people would laugh at her. But she knew she had to if she wanted Lotta to become a good dancer. Every evening, Lotta would practice her moves in front of the temple, and every evening, Amara would watch her from a distance. Lotta was a quick learner, and within a few months, she was able to attract a crowd. People would come and watch her dance and give her money. Seeing this, Amara felt a sense of satisfaction. Although she wasn't dancing herself, she was happy to know that someone else was carrying on her art form. One day, while watching Lotta perform, she saw a familiar face in the crowd. It was the village head. He was the same person who had offered her the position of a dancer at the temple. All those years ago, he came up to her and said, "I am very impressed with Lotta's dancing skills. She is very talented, and I am sure she will become a great dancer in the future." Amara replied, "Thank you for your kind words, but I want to tell you something." The head was taken aback. "What is it?" he asked. "You know, I was the best dancer in this village. People used to come from far and wide to watch me dance. But now they come to watch Lotta dance. Does this mean my art is dying? Does this mean I am completely useless?" The head was taken aback by her words. He didn't know what to say. He felt guilty that he had never bothered to ask her about her family or the fire that had taken them away from her. "No, Amara," he finally said, "this does not mean you are useless. You may not be dancing anymore, but you are still teaching Lotta, and that in itself is an art. You are passing on your knowledge to the next generation, and that is a wonderful thing." Amara looked at him in surprise. She had never thought of it like that before. She was so busy thinking about her own misery that she had never stopped to think about the happiness she was bringing to others. From that day on, Amara became friends with the village head. Whenever Lotta had a problem with a particular step or move, he would take her to Amara for help. Amara was very happy to see Lotta grow as a dancer. She knew that one day Lotta would become even better than her. One day, Amara fell ill. She was very weak and knew she wouldn't survive. She called Lotta to her side and said, "Lotta, I am very sick and I don't think I will survive. Please promise me you will keep dancing." Lotta hugged her and said, "Don't worry, Amara. I promise I will never give up dancing." Amara smiled and closed her eyes. Lotta kept her promise. She continued to dance at the temple until she was old and grey. She never forgot her guru, the dancer of ashes, who had taught her everything she knew. After Amara died, Lotta took over her position at the temple. She became the best dancer in the village, and people from far and wide came to watch her dance. She never forgot the valuable lesson her guru had taught her. She always remembered the words of the wise. What feels dead in you may spark life in others. Now I want to ask you a real-life question. Have you ever done something that you thought was pointless but later realized it was important? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to World of Wonderful Stories. See you next time.